What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Jay Nog, and we are here, of course, with the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, how are you today?
We are, we're doing great. We're doing great. My health is tremendous. Not that I'm trying to rub it in on anybody, but my health has never been better. My doctor says that if I were 40 years old, I'd be the healthiest person he's ever seen.
Really impressive.
It's called jeans. Some people have Levi's. They used to sell Jordache. Now they've had all sorts of fancy, ripped $500 jeans, but it comes down to good jeans. Sassoon. Remember Sassoon?
Remember Z Cavarici? That was the really popular one.
I buy American jeans, so I don't know who the hell that is.
Guess. What, your Guess jeans? Isn't that American, right?
Well, I had sex with some models who worked for Guess jeans.
That's good.
They would say Guess, and I'd say, I don't have to. My penis is in you.
What would you be guessing about? Or are they just trying to brand?
Well, they didn't know English very well. I think they only knew the word Guess because that's who they worked for. So they'd go, Guess.
That's nice.
And then I would say, Your Honor, she said, I thought she said yes. I have a very plausible excuse. My attorneys did very well. The old 1991 Guess Jeans multiple sexual assaults trial. We buried that very successfully, but it was, you know, I thought she said yes, and it turns out she said guess. Anybody could make that mistake.
100%. I agree. Now, Mr. President, very, very busy week for you.
Very busy. Well, that's when you're president, you're busy.
You're like the busiest president, I'm going to say ever.
It's either me or the Selena fan club president.
It could be a tie. Um, Now, do you remember the great day, January 6th? I mean, not a national holiday yet, but I'm sure soon to be.
Well, remember we said on this show, I think we Jan 6th is going to replace Juneteenth.
Yes, and Juneteenth is next month.
It's also a fake holiday, and it's probably the most DEI date in the history of our calendar.
Well, I there was a woman, Ashley Babbitt. Do you remember this woman?
She was the wonderful patriot who just wanted to peacefully protest by breaking windows and crawling into the Capitol. And she was totally innocent. And then a black police officer, okay, he was a
Hmm.
black. That's not our kind of blue because you know what happens when you have a black and blue. That means you got hurt. That's why we
Yes.
like white and blue. White and blue, nobody's hurt. Maybe you're
Okay.
a little, maybe it's like you're a little sad if a white is blue. How are you feeling? I'm a little blue. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's try to cheer you up. Would you like to beat up some black teenagers? But in terms of a black and blue, it's very dangerous. That's what happened. She got more than black and blue. She got shot and dead.
Um, do you know she had a lawsuit against your administration?
I think her mother did. I don't know if she had a lawsuit because she was
Well, on her
dead.
behalf. On her behalf.
Well, that's we respect that. We respect it. We settled it out of respect. We couldn't wait. There's people out there who are always seeking a payday that don't really deserve it. I was on death row for 20 years and I'm totally innocent. Give me money. Go get a job. Go get a job, you lazy son of a bitch. But when a woman is innocently murdered by a cop defending the Capitol from trespassers who are violent, that is a woman we can't wait to give. And you know what? To make the left upset, we're calling them Ashley Babbitt reparations.
That's very creative of you.
as opposed to what I had to give the guest gene models with which were reparations.
You're on fire, Mr. President.
Well, you better get some nice cool water to put out that fire because we got strong podcasting to do. Hot mic.
Um, so you settled on $5 million. Well, why was that number the respectful number? I thought it'd be a little more, to be honest with you. She gave her
You know
life
that.
for patriotism.
No, and she did, and we respect that, of course. If she had survived, we probably would have given her like 10 or 15 million dollars. But because it's just going to her white trash mother, how many lottery tickets and dips for your lower lip can you buy, you piece of garbage? So we thought 5 million was a very generous offer. Congratulations. Go get some scratch offs and some Mountain Dew and some Marlboros and some Dunkin' Donuts, you pig. With respect, with respect. She's the mother of a fallen patriot.
Um, so you would have given Ashley 10 to 15 million so she can ball out.
Sure, and maybe hire like, maybe just join a militia and go after the cop that shot her.
Gotcha.
But the point is, it's because the family has suffered, of course, the family has suffered, but Ashley was the true victim. And if she came back from the dead, we'd give her money, but you know, let's just put it this way, and I say this with respect. Not everybody is me who can just get shot and come right back. Ashley Babbitt got shot and she's not coming back.
Doesn't have your reflexes.
No, and that's why you don't want men playing sports with women because I'm so much more athletic and quick than Ashley Babbitt was.
No, $5 million for the family. Very respectful, and hopefully her mother spends it how you wish her to spend it.
Probably in one of those like beer helmets with the straw, the two cans and the straw coming through. But hey, if that's what her daughter wants her to do, that's what her do. That's if that's how she honors her daughter, then so be it.
Get a ride mower.
They'll do all sorts of, just I don't even know what else those people do. Some VFA lodge is gonna have like a pancake breakfast. Go have seconds, Ashley Babbitt's mom. You've got the money now.
Splurge.
It's the Elks Lodge pancake breakfast every month. You can have double the pancakes, Ashley Babbitt's mom, because you've got death. You got our blood money. Enjoy it.
Uh, um, now you're saying that Ukraine and Russia are going to start ceasefire talks. Do you have some inside intel that no one else has? Did you speak to both parties? What's going
I
on?
did. It's a
Okay.
great question. I did speak to both parties. And I said to Zelensky, we want to have a ceasefire. What do you think? And he said, and I said, very good. That's Ukrainian for yes, sir. And then I spoke to Putin. I said, Vlad, you're not making me look too good. I've had your back for many, many years. You got to give me something. And he said, you no understand. Me want Ukraine at all cost. And I said, so what I'm hearing is ceasefire? And he said, I will not stop until every Ukrainian is dead or under Russian control. And I said, so ceasefire starting tomorrow? And he said, ceasefire when Russia run out of ammunition. Until then, no ceasefire. And I said, very good, Vlad. Good to hear that we're going to have a ceasefire and looking forward to it. Good job. So it's called The Art of the Deal. It's great negotiating. So I think I brought them to the table. I think there's going to be great peace. Great peace. And
That's
so I
that's
let like
awesome.
so Vlad like did a bunch of drone bombs and he bombed like a civilian bus. Get it out of his system, before the ceasefire. Like before you go into rehab, you have one more bender.
He's
So like, Vlad before the
gonna have a good
ceasefire is just
civilian
like,
bender.
yeah, can my soldiers just blow up some buses and rape some nurses just before we get the ceasefire? Go, have at it, Vlad, and get it out of your system, and then we'll do a great
How long did you
ceasefire.
give him? Like his purge, how long does it last?
I said, you know what, give or take, I'd like it to be 12 hours, but if it's, if you need a calendar year, you can do that.
That's just a year. That's not bad. 12 hours to a year.
Excuse me, calendar year. So that's just, he only has December 30. If I see, nurseries getting blown up on January 10th, 2026, I'm not going to be too happy.
Well, it's good. You're gonna really put your foot down.
Oh, I put both feet down
What do you
if he doesn't act right.
what are you gonna do?
Well, you know what? When you don't reveal your weapons at this
Gotcha.
point. But I can tell you, there's going to be some Truth Social posts. Better believe there's going to be multiple. We might even thread. It's called thread. I might do a series of Truth Social posts, followed by maybe some sanctions and uh, maybe a nasty press conference as well. So look at that. And that's only if he doesn't, that's only if the killing doesn't stop by January 1st, 2026.
Are you gonna use like an infamous open threat line? What would it be?
There was a great movie called From Russia with Love. Well, today I'm sending this to Russia with anger. And then he'll know, and da-da, da-da, da-da-da. It's a very strong James Bond vibes.
Now, Mr. President, we have some bonus episodes coming out this month. We're not going to reveal who the guests are just yet, but if you want to check those out, you got to join the Patreon, guys. Hundreds of hours of bonus content. Patreon.com/MPGA. Also, leave a rating and review on the Apple, iTunes, or Spotify. Just helps the algorithm, helps us out, gets the attention out there. Tell a friend to download it, share it with a friend. We're gonna have more special guests on. So check out all the bonus content, patreon.com/MPGA. And back to the show. Now, Mr. President, did you hear the sad news?
I'm going to assume you're talking of Sleepy Joe Biden with the prostate cancer.
Yes, I am. I am talking about that.
Well, it's, he stole an election from me. So I'm still obviously not too happy about that. But because I'm such a nice person
Mhm.
and sort of a great Christian who never goes to church, uh, I think some things are bigger than politics. Some things are bigger than politics. And he has cancer, which I'm told is very bad, not good.
I don't know what stage the prostate cancer is in.
They said it's stage 4,
That's not very
and
good.
that is not good. And I actually talked to my doctor, and he said to me, "Sir, you'd have stage 8 if you had cancer because you're that strong." And I said, "Well, thank you, but I'm glad I don't have it at all." But Sleepy Joe is you don't like to hear this. You don't like to hear this. We already lost Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. If we lose the other worst president of all time, who the hell becomes the worst president of all time? If it's not Jimmy Carter or Sleepy Joe Biden.
I don't know. It would have to fall into Bill Clinton, right?
I would say Clinton was better than Hussein Obama, so probably
Okay.
Hussein Obama. But you know who actually, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I think George W. Bush was worse than both. What a stupid, got us into a stupid war with his stupidness.
Not a fan, huh?
He's a very low IQ person. That's why he brings candy, because he's a very low IQ person.
Have you ever hung out with him and spent time with him?
Only a few times, and the impression I got was that he was very stupid. So, Sloppy Joe, Sleepy Joe, um, we wish him the best. We hope he makes a recovery, or they say at this stage there's no recovery, but you can mitigate. You can, sort of like with therapies, sort of like extend life and, add a few years. So it's, you can't get rid of the cancer at this level, but you can sort of, they said they're going to stop testosterone. Like he's got to get hormone therapies that'll stop the testosterone. So, I mean, maybe he ends up with like big tits, like I mean, that's a win-win. All of a sudden he's like,
Becomes a gilf.
Hey, Jack, I'm still living despite the prostate cancer, and now I got these big cans. Come on, man. Hunter Biden might try to, grope him or something.
But I don't think they're gonna be pumping him with estrogen, just lack of testosterone, correct?
Yeah, they cut off the testosterone.
Are you gonna send him anything? Wouldn't that
I'll
be
send him some of
very
that stuff that Frank Thomas sells, like for like eugenics. I'll send him a bottle of Nugenics and say, "Here you go from your friend. I don't need it because I've got tremendous testosterone."
that would be a nice gift. I'm talking like, why don't you send him something nice so you look good?
That would be nice.
He's off testosterone and you're gonna give him more testosterone. There is
Well,
one that
I'm gonna give him the Frank Thomas testosterone. We don't even know if the stuff works. It's more like a gag gift, that's sort of like, "Hey, buddy, enjoy your big black Frank Thomas testosterone pills." And maybe Doug Flutie will join him. You've seen those commercials? That Frank Thomas, he's a big guy. I once sat next to Frank Thomas in a restaurant. I was taller than him, but he had arms like my thighs.
he was a monster hitter. Yeah, big dude. Um,
And
I
I
think.
ordered shrimp cocktail. You hear this? I ordered shrimp cocktail at this restaurant. It's called Ocean Prime. It's on
Hmm.
52nd and 6th in Manhattan.
Why do you
And
say it like that?
I ordered a shrimp cocktail, and he didn't even order a shrimp cocktail. And they brought him six complimentary. And then they brought me the standard four that comes in the order. And that's when I became anti-DEI.
Mm.
Because look at this. Oh, I paid for it with my hard-earned father's money. And he walks in there with no money and just sits down and they bring him extra shrimp for nothing.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Oh, that's okay.
Now, I wanted to ask you, you recently signed a bill to make revenge porn a federal crime.
Uh,
Congratulations.
it, well, it was very important. It's a very important. Obviously, there's a family exception carved out in the law. I don't know if you saw that, but when you're blackmailing or staring at photos of your own family naked, it doesn't count as revenge porn. But it was very important because my wife, Malamar, is a very sexy woman with a lot of nude pictures on the internet. And so it's very important that people not revenge porn her.
Do you know what revenge porn is?
I think it's when you secretly record your daughter showering and then is that am I on the right? I think that's it.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things involved. Also, like if you had a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, and then you released like video of you guys having sex after, that would be considered revenge porn, or photos. So probably the recording of that when them not knowing,
But what
but
if
then
I
it
just
goes
do
under the family, it goes under family, so
yeah,
that wouldn't
what if
count.
I do blackmail though? Like I threaten to release it, but I don't release it. That's not revenge porn.
No, it's threatening revenge porn. So I guess that's not technically revenge porn just yet.
Okay, well, so we still have freedoms in this country, then that's okay. Because I don't want to release I don't want to release the videos. I just, hey, like vote, Nancy Mace, here you are, in a triple gangbang. You vote for my nominee, or else, we'll have problems.
I'm impressed that you signed a bill like that.
Well, it was really important to Marshmallow, my beautiful wife. Uh, she's very dedicated to getting rid of revenge porn, because just think revenge porn, if and it didn't happen, but if um, Marlboro had ever filmed something when she was younger and then somebody tried to release it, maybe I don't marry her and she doesn't become the first third lady.
That is
You
true.
know, so it's
So,
so she's doing this for all the future European model, sex worker, prostitute, whore women who want to marry businessmen, that their reputations don't get ruined and limit their opportunities to have tremendous sex with billionaires and become important women.
but I think this bill is also for, there's been lots of cases where there be scammers from other countries who would infiltrate, teenagers and
Well,
act as
I'd
a
like to
girl.
infiltrate some teenagers.
No, well, they get on their account and then
Legally, of course, legally.
they would stalk them and find kids who are 17, 18 years old, and then say they're a girl, and then try to get them to, send them sexy pictures and
Oh,
videos, and then
that's one of my best moves, tech stuff. Don't give away the
and
secrets.
then and then they would say, "Oh, you just sent us those videos, those pictures. Now we're going to send them to all your friends and family and post them over the internet if you don't pay us." And there were some teenagers who actually committed suicide and really bad things. So I'm glad you signed
Okay,
this bill.
well, you know what? We don't want that. We certainly don't want that. So I guess you've convinced me I did the right thing by signing this bill.
Yeah, good job. Now, I know you live in the White House, but you're also a Floridian, but I mean, you moved out of New York,
It's
but
actually pronounced Floridian.
you're a Floridian. Well, you're a true New Yorker still, right?
A tremendous New Yorker, even though it's a big dump.
Well, how do you feel about the New York Knicks making the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years?
Well, I thought it was racist when they didn't re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein, even though people are telling me he's actually half a black. But he looks. You ever met this comedian John Moses?
Yes.
He looks he's like a supersized Moses, Isaiah Hartenstein. But I thought, this is a team. I think what I like about them, I'm not that big a Knick fan, to be honest,
Okay.
but I do like the fact that they're going to play Mike Pence's team, the Indiana Pacers.
Yes.
So this is sort of a revenge. We were talking about revenge porn. This is revenge murder. I want the New York Knicks to hang the Indiana Pacers and win the series.
Well, I don't know if basketball goes like that, but they could beat
Well, you have
them.
hang time. Remember hang time? They talk about
Hang,
hang time. So there's
yes.
hanging.
Yes, there is hanging that's in the air, not hanging by any sort of noose, though.
Well, at the net, if you look at the net, it kind of looks like a noose, like all sorts of little nooses tied together. So
Okay.
if, in honor of Mike Pence, I'll set up for this: win the series and then hang Mike Pence at center court.
That's how the series closes out. Usually some teams cut down the nets, but instead they hang Mike Pence by one.
Exactly. And then the Knicks might get me to be a fan again.
Do you know James Dolan?
Great friends with James Dillon, one of the great owners in sports. He owns the Sphere, also the big ball in Vegas.
Yeah, I think that loses money every single month.
Well, it's the greatest entertainment venue on the planet. How dare you?
I'm just telling you what I read. Do you think the Knicks can win it all?
Uh, Obviously I have to root for the red state teams like Oklahoma City. Uh, I think Oklahoma City's gonna win, but and they got a Canadian guy,
Who?
Shy.
Oh,
Shy
he's Canadian.
Gorgeous Alejandro.
Yeah, he's got a very Alexander. He's good.
Him too.
Yeah.
I like Chet Holmgren though. You see Chet Holmgren, that's a big, tall, white American.
What happened? Wasn't he involved with an underage girl or something? And then I guess a
No, that
few.
was my brother from another mother, Josh Giddy.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we're all on the group
Giddy
chat.
up, giddy up.
We're all on the group chat. Me
Whatever
and
happened to that?
he's in the Chicago. He's with Chicago. He's in the
No,
Chicago
I
Bulls.
understand that, but there were pictures and text messages and everything, and the girl's
It was one of
underage.
those weird. It was one of those weird things where he was like 19 or 20 and she was like 17, or he took it. It was very smart. I think he took it to a state where she was legal. Like cross over this border, and all of a sudden I can cross your borders. But
Smart
I
man.
think she didn't want to go through with anything. I think she was, and let's be honest. Can we be honest, tech stuff?
But doesn't
If
the state push it since it's like in public news? Like she has no
I'll only,
choice.
I'm only answering this because I'm an expert on this
Yeah,
exact issue.
yeah.
Because I've often said 50, 17. I guess, I guess that's illegal now. I guess we're gonna be like that. Me and Dane
Such
Cook are
prudes.
just in trouble. But I would say uh, if the alleged victim doesn't want to press charges, then that's it. No
Yeah,
charges.
did not know
That's why
that.
we call an NDA tech stuff.
Hmm.
You just bust out the cash and say, "No, darling, I don't think you want to do this."
So, do the Knicks have a shot at winning it all, Mr. President?
They have a shot, but I think Oklahoma City's going to win. But I think it'll be very interesting. I think it's going to be Knicks versus Thunder.
So, you think they're going to get to the finals? And that'd be the
I
first
think they
time since
are.
the 90s, I think, since they made the finals.
I think they will. I think they're going to make the finals. This guy
94, I think.
Jason Brunson.
Jalen, yeah.
Oh,
Jalen Brunson.
yeah, Brunson. That
Hmm.
guy.
Yeah.
Dr. Brunson. Remember him? He was on the Muppets.
Muppets. Yeah. Bunsen. Wasn't it Bunsen, same thing. Were you a fan of Beaker?
Beaker was, you like that. He was a little too spazzy. I like the support. I like the fact that he was always there to support his boss. A little too spazzy though. Sam Eagle was my guy. That was a patriot.
Who's Sam Eagle? The
He
dog?
was the blue bald eagle.
It's like it's a character. It wasn't very popular.
He was a tremendous patriot. Maybe the radical left didn't like him, but he was a tremendous patriot.
Okay. Not a fan of Fozzie or Animal.
Animal was good. Fozzie Bear was a horrible comedian.
Big hack. Mr. President, I wanted to ask you, your right-hand man has been missing out of the news. Want to make sure that he's healthy. He's okay. I've been reading, I've been introducing you to some conspiracy theories. There's another conspiracy theory I read that Elon Musk is really not human and that he is a created robot.
No, those are very nasty lies. He is very much human. It's sort of, how he made comedy legal? You know how he's so pro comedy?
Yeah, yes. He's a really
So
funny guy.
May is Autism Awareness Month, I believe.
I
And
think
so
it's
he
Mental
thought,
Health Awareness Month too.
well, since I'm telling the story, it's also Autism Awareness Month. And Elon thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if I disappeared during Autism Awareness Month, even though I have autism?
And where is he? Is he
We don't
vacationing? Is he
know because he
charging?
doesn't he doesn't want you to be aware of him during this month. Oh, never mind. It was April. I don't know what he's doing. I think he messed up the months. That's why I think he thinks it's this month, so he disappeared this month. He should have disappeared last month.
It's so bad that he got the months mixed up.
It's also kind of it's a very meta joke. It's like sort of anyway, he is somewhere. I think he's probably begging women to let him do IVF to them so he can have more kids. He's I think he's in a race with Nick Cannon.
What do you think of that? You're we could say you're close with him, right?
With Nick Cannon?
No, with Elon Musk
Oh, sure. Well, until we find out he did something, and then I'll say I don't really know him too well. But right now, he's a
right
very good
now.
friend, very good associate, very talented, smart guy.
What do you
Big
think about
brain.
what do you think about him having so many kids?
I think it's odd, frankly, because he's doing it in a strange way.
What's strange about it?
Well, it's like having kids is like having a kid is the worst part of having making a kid is the fun part. And he's taken the fun part out of it. He's like, what if we go to a lab, bro, and put my sample into another sample and we turn it into a kid, bro? And I'm like, that's actually the fun part. The awful part is when they're born and you have to like say hi to them and hang out with them. So you're taking out the one fun part of being a parent, making.
Well, maybe he just wants his genetics to be all over the world. Like who's that ruler who everyone has part of his DNA or 10% of the world is
That's
Genghis
Gary
Khan.
Kahn.
Yes. So Genghis Khan, the 10% of the world has his DNA. So maybe he wants to do the same sort of thing and just keep spreading his seed.
If it's, I think was he a very strong Asian businessman? Because I think Melania has his DNA as well.
I don't think he was a businessman. He was more of a tyrant. Excuse
Well,
me.
that's a type of business.
No, like tyrant of taking a whole city and piling them up where from a distance you think it's a mountain, but then you get closer and it's all just bodies. That's not a businessman, man.
If you're a successful funeral home director, it certainly is a business.
So if you rolled up on that, you would say, Mr. Genghis, may I speak to the loved ones of these people?
Genghis
Have
Khan
the
Funeral Homes, Inc. If you get the special Khan deal, I will murder your father, put him in a casket, and impregnate your daughter.
all for one
We're
price.
doing a 3-for-1 deal at Genghis Khan Funeral Homes.
Wanted to talk to you about one more thing, Mr. President. Excuse me. Now, you and your tariffs, how do you think they're going so far?
We reduced some of them. The other ones are doing tremendous numbers. They're saying they've never seen numbers like this in terms of tariffs and other numbers with great numbers.
So there's lots of numbers involved. Am I right?
I mean, there's one, there's two, there's, all the way up to a lot of numbers, big numbers.
I'm sure they're all going up to nine and then different place values. Lots of numbers.
What about 9.8?
Right, but you can't have one place value higher than it's got to go 0 through 9, and then you have to go to another place value.
Well, you know what? I guess when you're dealing with simple math, that's true, but when you're dealing with advanced tariff math, you can go even higher.
So you're telling me that advanced tariff math is different from international math.
That's why we do it better than other places because we know the advanced tariff math. ATM, we call it.
So is ATM kind of like we still uses inches and feet while everyone else uses meters and kilometers?
Exactly.
Figured that. Now, you are having beef with Walmart over your tariffs. What do you plan on to do with Walmart? Because Walmart keeps a lot of your supporters happy.
They do. And obviously, I don't want them going to woke Target. But Walmart has to, I'm going to start gearing my people to Whole Foods and Amazon.com because Bezos has been a great friend and shown tremendous loyalty to me. Whereas Walmart thinks they're bigger than me, and they're not bigger than me. They're actually not bigger than me.
So what do you plan on doing with them? Are you going to work
Well,
with
we're
them
gonna.
or are you going to try to put them under?
Well, you know what? My supporters do like Walmart, so we're gonna. The first thing we have to do is start telling our supporters that Walmart is run by a family of blacks. That's the first thing we'll do. And then we will start to say that they're doing DEI. And then we will say that in the family health section, they're performing late term abortions in Walmarts. And
So you're just going to
with all
make up,
that,
so you're going to make up lies.
well, we don't know if it's lies. We've heard things. It's also very possible that these are truth, social. So, these are stories we've heard, much like the Haitians eating the pets. And so, I think my supporters will be very unhappy when they find out that the Walmarts are a black family doing DEI and late term abortions in the stores.
The Walmarts. It's all right. If that's how that's how you want to play this game, that things could possibly have happened at Walmart. So it's definitely true.
It's better safe than sorry. That's always my saying, except when it comes to wearing condoms.
That's your saying. Okay. Um, Mr. President, thank you for spending another night with us. Of course, you're a very busy man. We appreciate you spending the time with us. Also, please go to the Patreon. Lots of bonus hours, hundreds of hours. Patreon.com/MPGA. Leave a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. If you are in the New Jersey area, Beach Haven, New Jersey, I'll be at the Surflight Theater on June 23rd at 7:30 p.m. It's a beach town over there. It's a Monday night, so come on through. I think the show always sells out. I think it's like once a month. So, Surflight Theater, June 23rd. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Ottawa, Canada, May 29th. Tickets are on sale. They're going fast. They're going to be so it's going to sell out, so get your tickets now. Ottawa Yuck Yucks. Get your tickets now. All right. Hey everybody, it's JL. I'm exhausted. So I have no words of wisdom. I don't even have the energy to scold you into being better fans by either giving us reviews or joining the Patreon. So enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. If you're not Patreon subscribers, there's gonna be a lot of Patreon content these next couple weeks to round out the month. So do yourself a favor and join and peruse the years of legendary bonus content. And if not, that's okay too. You're just hurting me and tech stuff. So that's it, everybody. God help us all.